Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome to the Doc Watkins Show. Jazz Texas ain't going nowhere, y'all. We've got a great show ahead for y'all tonight with special guest saxophonist Adam Carrillo, backed by popular demand. And also, my very special guest tonight is two-time NBA champion, the legendary Mr. Brent Barry. We're going to get to the music in just a second, but first let's have a look at the Jazz Texas news. In Hollywood, Tony Danza and Alyssa Milano have confirmed that their hit 80s sitcom, Who's the Boss, is being rebooted on ABC. Meanwhile, Jaleel White, who played Steve Urkel, confirmed that not one damn person has called him to reboot Family Matters. Washington state agriculture workers have trapped their first giant hornet and have until mid-September to destroy nests before mating season begins. The giant hornet can deliver a hurtful sting to humans that's almost as painful as working for Ellen DeGeneres. Disney World will cut its theme park hours in September due to the number of visits dropping. However, to embrace the COVID-19 theme, the theme park is changing its slogan from the happiest place on earth to the most contagious place on earth. Disneyland is excited to offer its newest attractions, It's a Small World, and getting smaller due to Florida's ventilator shortage. The Haunted Mansion is now the Haunted Hospital. Splash Mountain, in which you get to board a log flume and then get doused with 40 gallons of hand sanitizer. The Jungle Cruise has been updated to the Corona Cruise, where your voyage will experience a viral outbreak, forcing you to self-quarantine in a tiny room for 14 days, and you'll disembark wearing a Buzz Lightyear hazmat suit. Facebook is launching a new app for Instagram called Reels. The app is almost identical to TikTok, meaning China will buy it and Trump will shut it down. And finally, in rock and roll, in a USA Today interview, Mick Jagger assures you that he's doing just fine after last summer's heart surgery. The rock and roll legend, who'd been doing his first acting role in 19 years, says that even though he's 76 years old, he'll know when it's time to quit by looking in a mirror. And that's it for the Jazz Texas News. Well, to those of you who have a cocktail in hand, hopefully you got it from Jazz Texas. We are now doing delivery and curbside right to your doorstep, or you can come here and pick it up from Jazz Texas. We've got a full menu ready for you. We're very proud of it. Our staff has been working extremely hard all week long. We've got a great bar menu, great food, family meals. We hope you all will order dinner and drinks from us and enjoy the show. Thank you all so much for your support during this time. And I would like to start out the show by offering everybody a toast. So here is to many more months and years together making music and sharing fellowship long after this pandemic is gone. So here's to Jazz Texas long down the road. Cheers, everybody. All right, well, we're going to start things out with one of my favorite tunes. This is a tune that we've got Brent Barry on the show tonight, NBA legend, and this is a tune that relates to basketball pretty well because it's the theme song for the Harlem Globetrotters. It's an old New Orleans tune called Sweet Georgia Brown, so here we go. Something like that. That's Sweet Georgia Brown. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. I want to give a big shout out to my wonderful production crew. I have got Caitlin Hill over there on the audio. She's running all the audio for the show now, so thank you, Caitlin, for everything you're doing. Also, my main man behind the cameras, give it up for Chris Zients.
Science!
With Wizard Broadcasting. Check him out, everybody. All righty. Well, thank you for tuning into the show. Many of you have asked over the last few months, how can we support Jazz Texas during this time? And we are happy to announce that we now have some links that you can do that. If you'd like to donate to Jazz Texas, this is kind of a weird time for the music industry and the restaurant industry and the bar industry, and we happen to be in the perfect little section of all three. So we'd appreciate all your support. But really what we want you to do is keep tuning in and spending time with us online. Send us an email, send us a Facebook or an Instagram message, order food from us and drinks. We've got our whole team working very, very hard back in the kitchen. Just like always, we have a tight-knit family here at Jazz Texas, and we're so happy to keep them together and to just do everything we can to keep Jazz Texas going. So thank you for tuning in. I'm going to sing a song for you now, one of my favorite Duke Ellington tunes of all time, called Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me. Do nothing till you hear from me. Pay no attention to what's said. Why you would rip the seams of anyone's dreams is over my head. Do nothing till you hear from me. At least consider our romance. If you should take the words of others you've heard, baby, I haven't a chance. True, I've been seen with somebody new, but does that mean that I've been untrue when we're apart? The words in my heart reveal how I feel about you. Some kiss may cloud my memory, and other arms may hold a thrill. But please do nothing till you hear it from me. And baby, you never will. Here we go. True, I've been seen with somebody new, but does that mean that I've been untrue when we're apart? The words in my heart feel how I feel about you. Some kiss may cloud my memory, and other arms may hold a thrill. But please do nothing till you hear it from me. Baby, please do nothing till you hear it from me. Please do nothing till you hear it from me. And you never will. That's Do Nothing Till You Hear It From Me by the great Duke Ellington. Thank you very much, everybody. Well, my first guest tonight is back by popular demand from last Tuesday's show. You know him as the man with the plan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Mr. Adam Carrillo. Adam, thank you so much for coming back on the show tonight.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. It's always great to play with real humans, play music.
Or the closest one can get to one.
Yeah, I've just been used to my computer lately, playing with robots. It's just not the same.
Yeah, I'm going to do the best I can for you.
I know you will.
So thanks for being on the show, Adam. Why don't we play, we're going to start out with a tune by the legendary Herbie Hancock called Maiden Voyage. By the great Herbie Hancock. Adam Carrillo on the saxophone. I'm so happy to have Adam back on the show joining me. We're going to do a tune that Adam brought to me. This is a tune that I've never played before, but I have heard it my whole life, and I told Adam that I've been listening to a lot of vinyl at the house over the pandemic, and I have a big band arrangement of this tune with the Maynard Ferguson Orchestra, and we've been listening to it all the time. It's a tune called Maria from West Side Story by Leonard Bernstein. And I know that many of you know this tune, and it's not really a tune that you hear called on like a jazz jam session, but we all know it, and it's a beautiful, beautiful number. And so Adam said, hey, can we play Maria? And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So we hope you enjoy it. Adam Carrillo playing the soprano saxophone this time, Leonard Bernstein's Maria. That's Adam Carrillo on the soprano saxophone. Give it up for him, everybody. Thank you so much for being on the show, Adam. He'll be back in just a little bit. If you're just tuning in, that was Maria from West Side Story by Leonard Bernstein. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my very special guest tonight is a two-time NBA champion and former winner of the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. He was drafted in the first round of the 1995 NBA Draft and spent the next 14 years of his career dunking all over people's faces. He is currently the Vice President of Basketball Operations for the San Antonio Spurs. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show the legendary Mr. Brent Barry. Howdy,
Hey,
Brent.
Doc.
How you doing?
How are you? Good.
I'm terrific. We got a lot of ground to cover, Brent, and I'm glad you're on the show. Let's just get right into it. I don't want to waste any more time. If you were to play Kawhi Leonard in a game of one-on-one basketball, would you, A, win by 10 points, B, win by 30 points, or C, win by 300 points and take back all the money that he stole from the city of San Antonio?
I know your answer would like to be C, so I'll go with C. And I noticed tonight, Doc, you did not have a Kawhi joke, and usually you do. So for that reason that you're stretching your comedic both material and timing, I say cheers to you. So thank you for that.
Cheers to you, Brent. Thank you for being on the show. So what's your Kawhi joke?
I don't think I have one. I know that's it's a sore point in town, but we'll see.
I've been doing Kawhi jokes ever since the whole thing went on, and people were like, you know, stop with the Kawhi jokes. But now we got you. And what happened there? Everything was so good. We were great. It was the era of Kawhi, and what happened?
Yeah, I wasn't working for the team at the time, so I'm going to blame somebody else. I don't know what happened. Obviously, it's a sore point for the organization, but everybody is doing their best to move on, and we certainly are in the wake of things happening around the world. We are all doing that.
Yeah, I feel like someday, if I get to heaven, hopefully, you know, there's three things that I want to know. One, what happened to the dinosaurs? Two, did the vitamins that I was taking actually work? Were they worth it? And three, what happened to Kawhi Leonard? And I feel like we all have the same thoughts.
God will have your answers, Doc.
Yeah, someday.
You might not see him there, though.
What's that?
You might not see Kawhi there if that happens.
Hey, touche. Well, you know, he did. It was a very bad thing that happened. And in any case, thank you for being on the show. I want to get away from basketball for just a minute because you and I met years ago, and you're a musician. You're a music lover. You're a huge fan of JazzTexas. We had many a night down here together. Tell us about how you got into music, and then what brought you into basketball.
Interesting story, at least as far as jazz music goes. My late stepfather, I remember very vividly in high school, growing up in the Bay Area, that at some time around 6 o'clock when a bottle of wine was opened up and my mom was about to cook something, that he would go to the CD player. We didn't have a vinyl player at the time, and he would pop in music that I had not heard. And it was the likes of Jerry Mulligan. It was Art Blakey. It was Frank Sinatra, Songs for Swingin' Lovers. And I ended up knowing every single arrangement, every word, every instrument. And I would stroll around the house kind of mocking, playing each of whatever it was that was coming up as far as the instrumentation, and just really falling in love with that kind of music, and then seeking it out as I grew up. Something always, it just reminds me of home anytime I get a chance to hear it. And so I think that's what really drew me to when you were starting JazzTexas in San Antonio, thinking about who's this guy from the state of Oregon coming down and playing jazz in Texas. This is not adding up,
Right.
but
Still doesn't.
I'm going.
It still doesn't add up. I love how you said that you grew up listening to this music as dinner was being cooked. And to me, the sound of jazz, especially big band jazz and you know, music from the big band era and Sinatra and Dean Martin and Tony Bennett, I just immediately, the smells of like tomato sauce and onions being chopped and pasta come to mind. You know, I can't imagine jazz without dinner being cooked.
Yeah, they're very vivid memories for me. I have a bit of a story around Frank Sinatra. I was a sophomore in high school, and he was unretired and was still touring, and he was coming through the Bay Area and had a show at the Circle Star Theater in San Francisco. California, and I bought 2 tickets with my own money to go see Frank Sinatra.
Man.
And a friend of mine at the time, no cell phones, but a friend of mine called me at that time and said that he couldn't make the show with me that night. He had some homework assignment and he wasn't able to go. And so I hung up the phone, and my mom saw me sort of slink over and get depressed about it. And she said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "My buddy Chris can't make the show tonight." And she said, "Well, you can still go." And I thought, you know what, you're right. And I went by myself. I swept myself off my feet, and I drove as a 17-year-old to Circle Star Theater in San Francisco, had 2 tickets, kept the other one, sat down. I was by far the youngest person that was in the audience, and I was about 5th row watching Frank Sinatra underneath a solo spotlight with a cigarette burning and a glass of whiskey, and was one of the most memorable nights of my life, for sure.
Did he live up to the hype of what you were expecting him to be?
It was better because it was him, the persona right there in front of you. Having read some of his life story, and now in the last few years, seeing some of these wonderful documentaries about how he grew up and where he grew up and the things that he fought for throughout his entertainment career and all the things that he did, by far blew me away. He was grizzled. The voice was well-aged and fine, and the show was absolutely amazing. So I'm really happy my mom encouraged me to go that night and to have that experience.
I liked him the best when his voice was grizzled. I never saw him, but in the records you hear that as he aged, and he didn't take care of himself, and the voice started to go. But the more it went up to a point, it made it all the more powerful, because here's a guy, he didn't care. He knew that he could get the message across with or without the golden voice.
I like the fact, Doc, that he was not only such an incredible talent, but how smart he was to surround himself with even better talent. I mean, some of the albums and arrangements with Count Basie, later on Quincy Jones, Nelson Riddle, I mean, these guys were the masters at their time. And so Frank Sinatra was no dummy. When he went to go and record, he found the very best people he possibly could, and that's why the music is so great.
And here's my little segue back into the basketball world, which is what we all love about the Spurs, among other things, is that they know how to surround players with talent, and this is something that goes back, over 20 years. That the Spurs have not been about. The Spurs have not been about one guy. That when you lose that guy, the team dips below 500, and when you got him, you win a championship. But realizing all the things that it takes, and no team is better than the Spurs at figuring that out over the years. Would you agree? I mean, I know you have to say yes because you're with the Spurs, but you and I really know that that's the case.
I have to say yes now. I would have said it to you 10 years ago, but the most important part about it, Doc, I think, is believing in that as the new future of the Spurs is upon the city, obviously, with the retirements of Tim, Tony, Manu, Pop here as the oldest coach in the NBA. His time as a coach is probably coming to a close soon, but they have stood on pillars of being authentic, of making sure that no one player is greater than the team, and that all started with David Robinson in the city of San Antonio, and Tim followed that. But it has always been about no egos in the locker room, play for the greater good, and respect both the opponent and the game at all times. And I think there's a real fabric to all of that, is the reason why San Antonio's been so successful and has tried to be emulated for so many years, yet really never quite duplicated.
I saw Pop the other night in the bubble, by the way, with a Home Depot mask, like a mask for sanding wood.
Yeah.
And let's move on. And he took it off when he had to talk to the players. But in the bubble, I think
you have to get really upset at guys. So if you see the mask coming off, you are forewarned in the bubble that something's coming your way.
You're in for it. All right, now Brent, I did a little research on some stats with you and your career, and I discovered that during the 1997-98 series or season with the Miami Heat, that your free throw percentage was 100%.
One for one.
No, but it wasn't 1 for 1 because I thought, well, maybe he was injured and he only played one game, but you played a lot of games and you scored points in it. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh. The euphoria was too much.
I think when you talk to former athletes, they'll remember a lot of the things that went poorly or went unexpectedly wrong for them, as opposed to times when things are going well. I don't know what it is about that perfectionist mentality, but I think guys who reach a certain level, and maybe you're this way when you have shows at Jazz Texas, although I know you never screw up.
I never remember the good shows. I'm serious about that. I don't remember
Okay.
playing at Carnegie Hall. I remember the times I got really upset. I'm serious.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
perfectionist. Trust
Yeah.
me, I talked to the crew. I talked to Chris behind the camera, and he said, look, the pretty boy face while they're on camera during the show, that's all well and good. That is not the real Doc. So,
Well, it's because we care, and when you care, you think less about hurting feelings and things like that, and especially, yeah. So speaking of, so many of the cats in the band asked me to ask you. I have to ask you this question: Did Derek Fisher foul you in that legendary game?
it, I think it was a playoff game you're referring to, and
Yeah.
the answer is simply yes.
He did. I thought he always did. And the guys always said, what was the deal with that? Because that should have gone perfectly, and we got bounced from the playoffs because of a bad call.
Yeah.
Whenever I see Russell Wilson throwing the interception, when they should have scored and won the Super Bowl, I think that has to feel so terrible. Do you remember that moment, and was it devastating?
It wasn't, because I wasn't really in control of that. I could see how that ball left Russell's hand, and
Yeah.
the interception you felt solely responsible for that. When the guy has a whistle to make a judgment, you have to live with those results. And it's something that Pop always is referring to, that you got to make your own breaks, and it's never just the one call that is the difference between a win and a loss. So I would tell you I got fouled, but it's not something that I've really thought about twice. Actually, yeah, this is the second time, because I hadn't thought about it since the first time.
Yeah. You talk about Pop? What's the worst thing you've ever heard Pop say? And my kids are watching.
I cannot say what he said to me. I remember a time specifically in Denver playing against the Nuggets, and it was such a meaningless, frivolous play. In the first quarter, I was coming down the floor, and I threw a lob pass because someone was open. I think it was Manu, actually. And Manu missed the layup, and Denver came back and scored within the 6 seconds at the end of the first quarter. We got 3 more quarters to play. And Pop, when I turned to look over at the bench, Pop had already basically crossed the court into my face and said some select words, and I sat down for the rest of the half, to the point where Tim had to come over and actually put his huge hand just around my shoulder and console me for a little while. So
Yeah.
I remember that moment very vividly.
Wow. Well, I'm such a fan, Brent. I'm a fan of the Spurs organization. I'm a fan of all y'all, and I can't thank you enough for being on the show tonight. It's truly an honor.
Doc, I want to say just one quick thing. As you mentioned, I've been to Jazz Texas multiple times, and there's a couple of things that stick out real quick. One is Christmas shows at Jazz Texas need to become a holiday themselves. They're some of the most magical evenings that I've had with neighbors and friends and people that come to town. So thank you so much for providing that. And then lastly, I just want to say the staff, the crew, it's such a hospitable place that for those of us who are regulars, and hopefully there'll be more of them once we get past this pandemic and people stay safe, we'll come down there and feel the love and what it is that you guys provide. It's so unique for Texas, but you guys are incredibly talented. So thank you for all of that. I really appreciate it.
Well, I wish you could have seen the look on the staff's face when I told them that we had Brent Barry as a guest on the show. They all lit up, and the whole staff is back. They're all back there right now making food and running food to people's houses and making drinks. And so we're all really excited to have you on the show. We gotta do this more often. And we're going to make a podcast here in the next month or so where we take some of our interviews and we give ourselves more time to really dig in and stuff. So I would love to have you on. And you can't say no right now because you're on the air.
I'd love to join you, Doc, anytime. And thank you again. I truly mean that. And thank you for this as well. I've had dinner dates over the course of these broadcasts in the last few months. I know friends, the Zeller family sits in every night and they dance to the music. It's been remarkable. So thank you for even this.
Brent, thank you. We'll see you soon. Be well. Glad to have you back in the basketball season. I'm glad we're finally playing games. I'm watching, and it's exciting. So we'll see you soon, and thank you.
Thanks. Go Spurs, go.
Go Spurs, go.
See ya.
See ya. That's Brent Barry, everybody. So happy to have Brent on the show. We're going to get to some music here, and I'm going to play a song that I'm going to dedicate to Liz and Gil Morales. This is a tune called Take 5. You heard me last Tuesday say this is their anniversary week. It's a big week for them. 37 years of marriage, and it was last night that their anniversary was, and they're having a big party tonight with a couple select friends. Not too many people, don't worry. I think it's like 4 people or maybe 6 at the most, and they're all spread out across the backyard and stuff. But I'm going to play this one for you guys. This is Take 5 by Dave Brubeck and Paul Desmond. As Take 5 by Dave Brubeck and Paul Desmond. Thank you very much to Alamo Music, by the way, for providing us with this beautiful Kawai piano for our live streams. Guys, thanks for all you're doing for us during this time. Well, it's that time again, ladies and gentlemen. We're all stuck at home. It's been like almost 5 months now, and many of you are turning to crazy things like board games and other fun activities, watching puppy videos and kitty videos to keep yourself occupied during this time when there's no live shows to go out to. So we decided to put together our own board game for you, which you can play along with right from your living room. So without further ado, we give you the board game. Now, of course, you all know how the board game works. We pick two famous people, both of whom are pretty boring. We compare and contrast them both, and then I get to decide who's the biggest bore. So, tonight on the board game, who's more boring, Michael Bolton or John Bolton? Well, on the one hand, Michael Bolton is a soft rock singer, songwriter who loves ballads and has captured the hearts of many women while giving many men heart attacks. Born to parents who immigrated from Russia, his real last name was Bolotin, a Russian word meaning worse than Kenny G. Bolton once opened for Ozzy Osbourne on tour, but after Ozzy heard him sing, he wanted to bite off Michael Bolton's head instead of a bat. A bat. Michael Bolton's biggest hit is his remake of When a Man Loves a Woman, and the odds go down if a man finds out a woman owns a Michael Bolton album. Michael Bolton was a contestant on the 11th season of Dancing with the Stars, only because Richard Marx wasn't available. After the Isley Brothers accused Michael Bolton of stealing their song, Love is a Wonderful Thing, the court found him guilty for plagiarism and fined him $5 million. The good news for Bolton is that no one will ever try to steal one of his songs. Bolton had an on-again, off-again relationship with actress Nicolette Sheridan, which actually describes my relationship to Michael Bolton's music. Whenever a Michael Bolton song comes on, I turn it off. On the other hand, John Bolton is an American diplomat who served as the UN ambassador to the United Nations under President Bush and as national security advisor for President Trump. Bolton is known for being an outspoken critic of Russia, the same country where Michael Bolton's parents came from. John Bolton helped prevent North Korea from obtaining over $75 million worth of nuclear weapons, while Michael Bolton sold over 75 million albums. Coincidence? Think about it. John Bolton is of Scottish, German, Irish, and English ancestry. He's a Lutheran and he's a Republican, making him the perfect candidate to enjoy the music of Michael Bolton. John Bolton divorced his first wife, Christine, in 1983 after being inspired by the Michael Bolton hit song, Said I Loved You, But I Lied. In his new controversial book, John Bolton criticizes President Trump for being too soft on Iran and too soft on Iraq. Ironically, singer Michael Bolton is also known for Soft Iraq. It's a tough call, but if you had to pick who bores you the most, Michael Bolton or John Bolton, the correct answer is Michael Bolton. And thanks for playing the board game. Cheers, everybody. That's Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Thank you very much, everybody. We got time for one more number for you tonight. We're going to bring Adam Carrillo back here on the stage on the alto saxophone. Thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow night, our special guest is multi-platinum music producer, composer, arranger, and the head of the jazz department at USC. And boy, do I have some questions for him. His name is Jason Goldman, and he'll be joining us tomorrow night at 8. So make sure, order your dinner, order your drinks, tell all your friends, tune in with us, enjoy a Saturday night at Jazz Texas, as close as we can get to that with Jazz Texas dinner, a bottle of wine, some cocktails, some music, a little dancing in the living room or the bedroom, if you know what I mean. And we're going to close out with a tune by the great Duke Ellington and Billy Strayhorn called Take the A Train. Here is Adam Carrillo, everybody. Here we go. Give it up for Adam Carrillo on the saxophone, everybody. That's it for us tonight. We'll see y'all back here, same time, same channel, tomorrow night. We've got special guest, platinum selling producer, Mr. Jason Goldman, joining us virtually as our remote guest. So we'll see you then. Until then, y'all be well. Thanks so much for tuning in, and good night.